And what's interesting about the Project Enbridge is that Saudi Arabia just became a full participant in Project Enbridge, which is not compatible with US dollars. Not compatible with US dollars. The largest oil producer in the world, who just joined Brics, became a full participant in Enbridge. Dilma Rousseff said that the new unit currency will be 40% gold, not a basket of commodities, but 40% gold and 60% a basket of local currency.
In today's news recap, silver price seems vulnerable near $29 over 2-week low. Silver price remains under some selling pressure for the third successive day on Friday and touches a 2.5-week trough during the Asian session. The white metal currently trades around the $29.50 region, down 0.80% for the day, and the technical setup supports prospects for a further near-term depreciating move. Against the backdrop of the recent failure to build on the momentum, this week's breakdown through a short-term trading range support was seen as a fresh trigger for bearish traders. Moreover, oscillators on the daily chart have just started gaining negative traction and suggest that the path of least resistance for silver remains to the downside. Hence, a subsequent slide towards testing the next relevant support near the $29.15 region looks like a distinct possibility. Some follow-through selling below the latter might expose the June monthly swing low. Silver price could eventually drop to the 100-day simple moving average, currently pegged near the $28 mark. On the flip side, any attempted recovery might confront some hurdle near the Asian session peak. This is closely followed by the $30 psychological mark, above which a bout of a short covering move could lift the silver price back up. The momentum could extend towards the $31 round figure. Make sure you hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you do not miss out our recaps. Also, check our description for full credit details if you want to watch the whole interviews. Enjoy the episode.
To hold any EU bonds, and the same thing is true about taking the $5 billion held in the United States. Why the hell would anyone want to hold treasuries from a country that is hypocritical, that is broke, insolvent, and is going around the world imposing these sanctions, and in fact outright theft? It's theft. It's default, and using the proceeds, even worse than all of that, to buy munitions that we make here, the military industrial complex, and giving them to the country that they're fighting in a war. I mean, it's as grotesque and egregious as can be. It's as stupid can be. It's almost too stupid to be stupid. But the point of it is that, yeah, that's real. Now, when we talk about the meeting in Novigrad, this is something that, Jesse, it blows my mind at the lack of journalistic integrity in the West. They don't talk about any of this stuff, and you cannot get the hell out of the way of what you don't see coming. And that's everyone that you care about, whom you probably have a similar fate that I do. You try to help people who are maybe even very well read traditionally, just reading the wrong stuff and have no idea what you're talking about when you say these things and look at you cross-eyed. Well, the same thing is true here about this massive development, right? Massive development. So please indulge me. I'll try to do this as brief as possible, but as usual, I'm not very brief because I like to set the stage so that people can understand. All right. There was a meeting. Now, at the beginning of the year, we were told by the Brics that there would be 200 meetings leading up to the big meeting in October, right? And every one of those meetings, Brics specific, with things that are, this is a big process. And for people who think that this is just a shotgun deal with the Brics, it's been going on for 17, 18 years. And now it is accelerating. It's like a roll of toilet paper. When it's new and fresh, you don't see it spinning. When it gets close to the cardboard, it starts to spin much faster. And you see that cardboard. That's a metaphor for a lot of things in life, including life itself, but also in terms of the Brics union that is growing. Now, let's go back a few weeks before the meeting. And in June, a lot was made of Saudi Arabia not signing the exclusivity deal, not re-upping it, right? And saying, well, we're not saying we're not going to take dollars, but we're also going to take other currencies as well. Well, that was big news. And all of the things that I've talked about with you on your show before all of this happened, that all the OPEC countries on the Belt Road, Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS, Saudi Arabia joining the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. You mentioned, by the way, the president of Belarus. He also called another thing I've been saying for 3 years. He has called for a summit to introduce the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and I highlight the word cooperation instead of coercion, and the Eurasian Economic Union, who what's his name? Sergei Glaziev is the economic finance minister for the Eurasian Economic Union, and he is the one who has a big role in what I'm about to talk about. He has called for a meeting of these two unions to join the BRICS.
Recently, gold has reached new all-time highs, driven by a surge in central bank purchases and growing geopolitical tensions. In today's episode, Andy Schectman talks how countries like India, Saudi Arabia, and several European nations are repatriating their gold reserves from the Bank of England and the New York Fed. This trend underscores a broader shift as nations seek to reduce their reliance on the U.S. dollar. Central banks are not only buying gold, but also bringing it home. This repatriation is significant, reflecting concerns over the stability and reliability of traditional financial systems. For instance, India has brought back 100 metric tons of gold held in the UK since 1991. Other countries, including Germany, Austria, and Turkey, are following suit. These actions highlight a growing mistrust in foreign-held reserves and a desire for greater control over national assets. Andy highlights that the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are also making moves that could reshape the global financial landscape. They have agreed in principle to create a new settlement currency partially backed by gold. This currency aims to facilitate trade among BRICS countries, reducing their dependence on the U.S. dollar. This development could further boost the demand for gold, as nations look to strengthen their reserves in anticipation of this new system. Silver, often considered gold's lesser-known sibling, is also garnering attention. While the focus of many central banks remains on gold, silver's industrial applications and its role as a monetary metal make it a valuable asset. Investors are closely watching silver prices, expecting them to follow gold's upward trajectory. As economic and geopolitical uncertainties persist, both gold and silver remain attractive options for those looking to protect their wealth. Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first, smash the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like our recaps, and check our description for more info. Enjoy the episode.
It's going to happen. But all of these things that Saudi Arabia has done as a result of our signing executive order to go green, turning our backs on Saudi Arabia in many respects, and then what's happened as a result of the weaponization of the treasury market and the dollar market. So in any case, there's this meeting in Novigrad, and it coincided with the G7 meeting. And the Royal Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia turned down an invitation to the G7 meetings. I'm too busy, you guys, but thanks for the invite. And then sends his finance ministers to the BRICS meeting in Novigrad, where 20,000 people attended in over 130 or 40 countries. And what came out of this meeting were a couple of very big developments. First development was that 59 countries said we're joining BRICS, on top of the 10 that are already there. Now, we'll know in October which ones of those 59 have been admitted and have formally applied, but 59 countries have come out and said we're going to join BRICS, and a whole bunch more are contemplating. But a bigger development came out, and that was two meetings between Sergei Glaziev. Now, Sergei is, this finance minister who's been saying for 3 years, this is why I've been saying that the BRICS currency will be pegged to a basket of commodities and a basket of currencies. He's the architect of all this. The meeting was between Glaziev, Putin, and Dilma Rousseff. Dilma Rousseff, for your listeners who don't know, was the former president of Brazil and is now the president of the BRICS New Development Bank. This is no small job. She is the head of the Brics New Development Bank. And she came out and confirmed that in the two meetings, they have agreed in principle to a new Brics settlement currency called the unit. We're going to get into that in a moment. And that it would all be traded over Project Bridge. Now, I don't know if I've spoken with you about Bridge, but I have talked a lot about it over the last year and a half or so. It came out in 2023. It's actually been developed for years before that, but developed between China, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates. It is a cross-border payment system that allows these countries to trade their central bank digital currencies with one another, not going through any United States intermediary banks or the SWIFT system. And I believe that gold and oil have been remonetized, right? I've said that incessantly, including, look at oil. I always talk about gold, but look at oil in terms of its value. China was awarded a massive $2 or $3 billion contract to modernize Iran's biggest airport. And they're being paid for it in oil. Not dollars like it used to be, but in oil. So I find it ironic that the first two trades that they did in testing this system were between China and the UAE using digital yuan to buy oil and to buy gold. And they worked. And now it is working. And what's interesting about the Project Bridge is that Saudi Arabia just became a full participant in Project Bridge, which is not compatible with US dollars. Not compatible with US dollars. The largest oil producer in the world, who just joined Brics, became a full participant in Bridge. Dilma Rousseff said that the new unit currency will be 40% gold, not a basket of commodities, but 40% gold, and 60% a basket of local currency.
What do you think of Andy Schectman's take? Will the East versus West war end up in a massive gold and silver price squeeze? Will the dollar collapse in 2025 as the BRICS nations take over? Share your honest opinion in the comments section down below. Send a super thanks if you find our recaps valuable, and make sure you see this video right here because it's a perfect fit for you. I see you on the other side.